my friends, welcome to Sabrina's Crafty Corner. And today I made a harvest basket using these 3 pumpkins from Dollar Tree. And I painted one with moss green, one with pumpkin orange, and one with Waverly plaster. And then I took some bare dark finishing wax and rubbed it all over the front to kind of dull the colors and give them a more vintage look. And I'm sorry I was not able to do that on camera. These here are some fabric mushrooms that I also picked up from the Dollar Tree. It came in a pack of 3. And I've taken some fabric squares and I am hot gluing the fabrics, cutting it as I go to fit, and hot gluing it to the bottom of those mushrooms because they had this velvety material to them that I really didn't like. So I wanted to vintage those up a bit. And so I'm hot gluing. I'm using a tool to push down the fabric down into where the stem meets the top of the mushroom. And I'm just gluing that down as tight as I can. As you can see. And then as I have excess fabric, I just cut it off and I trim it down to size so that I can just put on some hot glue and push that fabric down into that seam, again, where the mushroom top meets the stem. And once that was done, I took the dark bare finishing wax and this makeup brush that I also got from the Dollar Tree, and I just spread it all over. I brushed it all over the stems and all over the fabric on the top to grunge them up a bit and make them look a little bit dirty there, because the stems were really white when they came. And now I am measuring and cutting some rusty wire, and I have pre-painted some wooden beads. And so for this I took 2 pieces of rusty wire and folded them in half to make 4 sections, and then I'm just twisting them there in the middle to hold. And I'm going to alternate colors of the beads that I pre-painted here. I went with Waverly plaster and some burnt umber, some black, some yellow, kind of a pale yellow. Some of these I had to mix paints to make the color I wanted. Also some orange. I added some water to my paint to make them more of like a stain. So once I got the color I was looking for, I added some water to the paint. And I dropped the beads in there and let them soak for a little bit, and then pulled them out and laid them on a paper towel to dry, just to kind of stain the wood. And I'm alternating colors here. As you can see, it doesn't really matter what pattern you go with. I'm making some Indian corn. Now, usually I didn't have enough beads to do a full corn cob like I normally would, so I sectioned it. I'm only doing like a half corn cob, so it'll just, normally the beads would go all the way around in a circle, and I'm just doing 4 rows in the front. Usually it would take 8 rows. And then I had some dried corn husks here, which I am going to pull a few out, hot glue them together, and I'm going to create the husk for the corn. and my husks were not long enough for this project, so I did it in layers. And some of the pieces were kind of hard to work with. They kept ripping in half. They just tore really easily. So again, normally I would do 8 wires to make a full corn cob, but since I didn't have enough beads, I was able to make just the 4 work, as we were covering the back with the husks anyway. And this is just some sisal that I picked up from, or that I ordered it off of Amazon, I believe. And then I took some more of that Behr Minwax, and I brushed that Minwax on to the sisal just to dirty it up. And now I'm wrapping and hot glue. I'm wrapping the jute twine around the bottom just to kind of hold everything in place. I apologize. I thought I had the camera positioned a little better than this. I didn't realize I kept pulling it off the camera. But here, I'm just filling in the blanks. I'm just adding little pieces of corn husk in areas that I felt needed a little more. So this is some coffee stained fat material that I'm using. I used a plain material that I coffee stained, as well as a lace, I think it was a placemat that I used in this basket that I picked up from Goodwill. And then I added some moss to the bottom of the basket. And now I made this little bouquet, just a couple sunflowers and some a burnt orange baby's breath that I had. And I am making a bow out of some homespun fabric to hold our little bow together, flowers together. And now I'm just arranging. I made 2 corn cobs, as you can see. And I'm just arranged it all into the basket. And this is our finished craft. Not the best tutorial, I know. I'm sorry, I missed a lot on here. So if you have any questions, please be sure to put them in the comments. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have. And thank you so much for watching.